I cannot enter.
Good evening. We repel the intruders for now.
My good friends, if I may have your attention. Behold our visitor, the good Dr. Reed. Newborn of blood so pure and strong that even my friend Fergal Bansher was no match for him.
Here, here, here.
Come forward, young Ekon, for we have so much to discuss. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. I am Lord Redgrave, Earl of Bristol and chairman of this exclusive association.
Lord Redgrave.
At last we meet. I've been eager to make your acquaintance. I've heard some astounding things about you. Please accept my condolences for your loss, Dr. Reed.
Thank you, my lord. Lady Ashbury expressed your wish to meet me.
Yes. The lady has always been a useful acquaintance, though not always reliable. Is she a good friend of yours?
Yes, she is. I may even say I admire her probity and her kindness. She has helped me since I was reborn.
The centuries have taught me never to trust a woman completely, especially if she is a mortal. Too prone to emotions, if you ask me. Too fickle when it comes to important decisions.
My lord, do not expect me to speak ill of Lady Ashbury.
Of course not, and I praise your loyalty. Would you offer the same fidelity to the Empire?
What do you mean?
I speak of the Skull Plague that threatens London and the country. You have been on the front line in the East End, but the time has come to open up a second front here.
The epidemic has escaped the quarantine. You have new cases of the outbreak.
We don't know for certain, but we cannot allow the disease to threaten the prominent heads of Great Britain.
Why have you asked me here?
Because the crisis is escalating. Our enemies, the Garde Priwen, have even launched an open hunt. The only way to calm things down is to put an end to the epidemic.
You want me to find possible sources of the outbreak in the West End. Is that it?
Ah, straight to the point, like all eager newborns. We shall have time to talk about all this, Dr. Reed, but first, I should like to get to know you better.
Talk? Is that the only reason you asked me here?
Well, no. I also wanted to meet the intriguing Ekon who made such a powerful progeny of his sister. You have not learned the name of your maker, am I correct?
No, I haven't.
Have no embarrassment, Dr. Reed. We all make mistakes. But whatever your lineage, you are definitely Ascalon material.
What do you mean?
I would like you to become a member of the Ascalon Club, and to serve me as such.
Before I accept, I have so many questions.
Please ask.
What does it mean to be a member of the Ascalon Club?
It means that you swear to protect the interests of the Crown, that you become a loyal servant of the British Empire.
Do you have any official recognition from the government? A charter from His Majesty the King?
No. Of course, the Ascalon Club publicly supports the Empire, but the true nature of its members remains a secret.
Am I supposed to follow orders?
As founder and chairman of the club, I alone am entitled to make demands of our members, and I do appreciate obedience.
I killed Fergal, who claimed to be one of yours, sent to cleanse the East End of all Skulls. Will his death be an issue?
Do not worry. My priorities have changed. Fergal was a zealous servant of mine, but like any servant, he had his limitations and is readily replaced if necessary.
What is the Ascalon Club's express purpose?
We follow the credo of William Marshall, the greatest knight who ever lived. As was he, we are sworn to protect the British Empire.
What does Ascalon mean?
Ascalon was the lance wielded by St. George, glorious patron saint of England when he slew the dragon. And like that lance, we pierce the hearts of all our nation's enemies.
William Marshall founded the Ascalon Club.
Not exactly. William Marshall granted me immortality, and I founded the club a few years later. The good knight has been gone for so long.
Before...
Please
I agree to join the club.
This is good news. Good news indeed in these crucial times. Let's inform the Assembly formally and proceed with your initiation.
My initiation?
Fear not. Nothing fancy nor dangerous. It is just that we, the members of Ascalon, believe that tradition and custom are the backbone of this country. My fellow members, dear friends, please gather and welcome this Ekon as one of our own.
Is he worthy? Is his blood pure?
Well, speak, Dr. Reed, in front of the most sacred blood. The blood of our beloved William Marshall, speak now. Will you serve and protect the crown as he did?
Yes, I will.
Then, young Ekon, it is time to testify with your blood. It is time to sign the Book of Allegiance. I know it's awfully gothic and a tad pedantic, but England's traditions are the backbone of our nation. Delightful. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. Take your place among the bearers of the lance.
One of us! One of us!
I personally went patrolling last night in the West-End, and I
Good
spotted
evening, Dr. Reed.
foreign-
How does it feel to be this evening's centerpiece? Figuratively.
I feel perfectly fine. Do I have cause for concern?
Do not be alarmed. The Ascalon Club has a tried and tested policy for choosing its initiates.
May I ask who you are, sir?
Why would you be interested?
Well, as you seem to be the only man in the room with a beating heart, you draw quite a bit of attention yourself.
Ah, vampire senses never cease to fascinate me. They dwarf those of mere mortals. I am Aloysius Dawson, by the way.
Are you a member of the club?
Yes, I am. And I have been for many years. And will be until the day I die.
What can you tell me about it?
It's not really my place to give you such information. I am merely a mortal member, and a dying one at that.
Are you sick?
Personally, I consider my advancing years are a sickness in itself. My body is slowly abandoning me, Dr. Reed.
Are you not afraid? You are surrounded by vampires.
Sir, it's for that very reason that I joined the club in the first place.
Is not the nature of this club a secret shared by only a privileged few?
My dear Dr. Reed, I have spent years and a fortune precisely to gather that kind of information.
So you asked for membership?
I have been a member of many clubs in many countries. But I must admit, this one is my favorite.
What can you tell me about Lord Redgrave?
I would not dare speak of our chairman without his consent.
Mr. Dawson, of Dawson and Dawson, the wealthiest man in England. It is a pleasure to meet such a prominent figure of London.
A withering London figurehead, to be precise.
Are you sick, Mr. Dawson? I am a doctor, you know.
My case is beyond the scope of traditional medicine. I have spent fortunes on the world's most competent doctors to arrive at that diagnostic conclusion.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Should I suppose that you're here in search of some form of immortality?
Absolutely not. I'm here to implement my plan to save the city I was born in, to cast out the ghastly evil that has us all on our knees.
What do you know about the Guard of Priwen?
I should not say this, but I admire their commitment. This is what the nation needs right now.
But they are our enemies.
They are not mine, Dr. Reed.
Would you help them?
No. There is a time for such methods. But brute force will not be enough to fight this plague. We have to think differently.
What is the situation like in this part of town?
I am sure Lord Redgrave will enlighten you more effectively than I.
Money cannot solve every problem. This mysterious epidemic is going to require more than money can buy.
You're right. Money is nothing unless one has the will to wield it. I have a plan, sir. A radical one that will save all that is essential in London.
What is your plan, then?
Quarantine and barricades are futile. What we need is a wall. A formidable, unscalable wall to isolate the deserving from the infected masses.
But that would segregate the rich from the poor, would it not? It would be unjust.
Our only course of action must be to save England. And to save England, we have to make sacrifices.
Are you not mistaking sacrifice for summary execution?
Why do you care? Are you not a vampire? Removed from all mortal concerns? Decisiveness is what the city needs. And it needs it now.
The mess inside the club since we were attacked. I must admit the guard of Pre-Wen impressed me. They must have spent years preparing their plan.
That went well, did it not? It is always useful to bolster the troops' morale, especially before a difficult battle.
You have the makings of a general, my lord.
I was, though very long ago, well, not quite a general, but a proud defender of the crown.
So why did you really want to meet me?
Straight to the point again, young Ekon. All right, let's talk, you and I, Lance Sparrow.
I'm listening, my lord.
According to my spies, you have worked with Dr. Edgar Swansea on the epidemic, and your findings were quite alarming.
Do you know Edgar Swansea?
Not personally, but I've been told he has some sort of immortal fetish and is a good friend of yours.
Does it bother you that I consider him my good friend?
As long as you reveal nothing of the club's inner workings, why should I forbid you engaging in conversation with the good Dr. Swansea?
You were spying on me?
Not personally. I rarely leave this building. But once he found you, Fergal kept me informed. Until you put an end to his mission.
Who was Fergal? I don't see him sipping tea with the others in the club.
Fergal Banshire was my squire of sorts. Even before becoming that magnificent beast, he was a brute. He served me well for decades.
No, I mean, what was he? He was clearly no ordinary vampire.
No, he was a Volcod. All muscles and instinct. Quite the rare breed. Ferociously territorial. Mortals often mistake them for werewolves.
You do know I killed him.
Yes.
Will you bear ill will towards me for his death?
Of course not. Your victory was quite impressive and courageous. You earned my respect.
Yes, I'm convinced the recent invasion of frenzied Scals in London is directly linked to the epidemic. This is not the Spanish flu, but something else.
I would be glad to hear more of your discoveries, Dr. Reed, but for now, my main concern is the security of London's inhabitants, both mortal and immortal.
What do you mean?
Alarmed by the epidemic, the Guard of Pre-Wen has started a war against us British vampires. To appease the situation, we must eradicate the scowls.
I have met peaceful and wise Skulls. To exterminate them means we are no better than vampire hunters.
Scowls are hideous, shameful creatures that give all Ekon a bad name.
So, what do you want me to do?
I want you to investigate the city thoroughly. I have reason to fear there are cases of contagion in this part of town. Our absolute priority is to find and cleanse them.
And how would you like me to proceed?
By all means necessary, Dr. Reed. You are now a member of the Ascalon Club and you have carte blanche. Interrogate the locals, follow all the leads you find, and get results. How's your investigation going, Dr. Reed? Time is our enemy.
I have a few questions for your lordship.
All right, but be quick.
You made me swear on the blood of William Marshall during my initiation ceremony. Why was that?
William Marshall was the most glorious knight who ever lived. He served 5 kings and was a living example of probity for all. And he was my maker.
William Marshall was a vampire? Is this some sort of joke? Wait. Could he be my maker?
That would be joyful news, for it would mean he still walks among us. But alas, the great knight has left this world for good.
Why is his blood so sacred to the Ascalon Club?
He was simply the greatest defender of the realm we have ever known. I fought by his side at the Battle of Preston, and he made me his progeny following the fight.
May I ask you about the mortal who attended my initiation? Mr. Aloysius Dawson.
A member of the club does not normally ask questions about other members. We trust each other mutually.
So he really is a member, then?
Indeed. Only the most eminent members are allowed to attend such ceremonies. Even if I admit some of us fled during the first hours of the Great Hunt.
But Mr. Dawson is mortal. Are you not afraid he might reveal who you are? Especially to your enemies.
Aloysius Dawson is a man of his word, as are all of us. This is the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. We do not grant access to the unworthy.
What can you tell me about the Great Hunt?
It's a major concern, and I'm convinced we'll only get a satisfactory conclusion by putting an end to the epidemic.
I have already met Geoffrey McCullum. I am certain he will persist until he has killed every last vampire.
The Guard's current successful recruitment campaign is driven by the ravenous behavior of the Scowls.
I see. So without the epidemic creating Scowls, the Guard could not convince anybody of our presence.
Exactly. Once we have put the epidemic behind us, we need only wait until the Guard grows old and weak. Time will once again become our ally.
What about the risk of a full-scale attack here? Geoffrey McCullum is a daring leader.
That is exactly why so many of our number have left the country until things improve. But not me. I founded this club. I'll die defending it.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Godspeed, Dr. Reed. We are counting on you.
I personally went patrolling last night in the West-End, and I spotted at least 2 foreign echoes.
We'll talk
This
later, Dr.
is an
Reed.
outrage. We shall chase these intruders down.
I was chased by a gigantic falcon 2 nights ago.
I think Lord Redgrave just suggested I was sired by an ancient vampire.
Hello again, Venus.
Jonathan, you're still up. Can't you just knock at people's doors during the day?
I'm sure you can spare me a few minutes. For old time's sake.
Of course you may enter, Jonathan. I remember when Mary came here with her husband and her son. They were such a beautiful family. At least you survived the Great War. I feared the worst. I'm so sorry for your loss, Jonathan. You know that you're always welcome here, but at this hour of night? I'm so sorry.
It's a pleasure to see you again, Venus.
So you returned from the war in one piece too. Thank God. My Clarence is back home too.
How is the old rascal?
Probably outside, chasing ghosts and chimeras. Clarence has changed a lot since he returned from the war, you know.
How have you been since the last time we met? How long has it been? 3 years now?
I've done my duty, like all British women. You have no idea what it was like to wait for months without knowing if I'd still be a wife or a widow.
I understand. Luckily, this part of town has been saved from the worst of the bombings, from what I've seen.
Yes, and it's also true about the epidemic. The flu has killed here too, of course, but not on such a large scale as in other parts of town.
Have you noticed anything peculiar about the neighborhood recently?
You mean except for your return to town? No. Oh, and again, Jonathan, please accept my condolences for your sister.
Thank you, Venus. It was so sudden. And I've been so busy, I haven't spoken to anyone about it.
I wish I could have assisted at the funeral, but, you know, it's been so quick. And what with the epidemic in the streets?
There's no need to apologize, my dear. It's normal, considering the circumstances.
No, it's not. I am sure that Clarence has not even thought to present you his condolences. He is too busy with his penny dreadful stories.
Why is my return so surprising?
It's more an unexpected happy end than a surprise. You and Clarence, back from the war. You have no idea how hard it's been for me.
Venus, why do you worry so much about your family's reputation?
Everyone laughs at Clarence now. And they avoid me because they believe I share his insane opinions. I'm a leper in my own community.
Tell me about Clarence's obsession with vampires.
It drives me so crazy it makes my stomach hurt. I was so relieved to have him back. But I quickly realized he'd lost his mind in France.
I understand your irritation, Venus. But you have to accept the trauma Clarence endured on the battlefield.
The question is simple, Jonathan. Is my husband mad? Yes or no? Do vampires exist? Or is Clarence a lunatic?
So you don't believe Clarence?
If poor Mary, bless her soul, had tried to convince you of the existence of bloody vampires, would you have believed her? Seriously?
The important question is, what do you really think of your husband?
I'm tough, Jonathan. He should have told me the horrors he witnessed, however appalling it was, instead of inventing a fantasy about blood-drinking monsters.
What do you think about Clarence squandering his fortune on his obsession?
Soon we'll be poor, and forced to sell the house. Where will we go? In which filthy, infected part of town will we end up? I'm so afraid.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual?
The McPhersons. I heard they locked themselves in their own house.
They could just be afraid of getting sick.
Perhaps you're right. But if I were you, I'd pay them a visit. A big house, reachable through a courtyard, to the north of the railway bridge.
Goodbye for now.
always welcome here. But at this hour of night?
Women die too in this war!
Good evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently?
A few days ago, I spotted a strange house while campaigning for women's suffrage. Awful smell. No answer when I knocked.
Where is it?
It's the Mullaneys, a nice family who live in a big house near the park in the eastern part of this neighborhood.
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my best regards to your mother when you see her.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
Good evening, old chap. Are you all right?
I won't lie to you, Johnny. I'm not a well man.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Can you help me?
Infection is everywhere these days. But if you ever go to the park near that swanky house belonging to the Mullaneys...
Yes? What about the Mullaneys? What about their house?
Not enough noise for a big family with children. Not enough movement. Closed doors. What is going on in there? I wonder.
Do you realize you are ruining your family, Clarence? Don't you see the risk here?
Money isn't important. Not important when it is a matter of life and death. That is what my dear Venus cannot understand.
People will laugh at you, if they don't already. Think about your wife and your position. Think about your future.
I understand my wife's embarrassment, but gossips don't kill, vampires do. There'll be no future if people don't open their eyes.
I can't believe I'm telling you this, but if warning people is that important to you, why not choose a more efficient way to spend your money?
Don't you think I tried? I knocked at every door, went to every bank, I even tried to be published. No, Jonathan. This is a one-man war.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Goody.
I may...
Aubrey, I'm not sure visiting Italy is a good idea this time of the year. did.
Yes?
I found an old letter written by my father and addressed to me. Do you know anything about it, Avery?
Your father wanted me to give you this letter for your 35th birthday, but you left for the war, and the letter remained in his office until tonight.
I realize now you knew my father better than I did. Do you know why he left, Avery? Did he ever speak to you about his departure?
No, sir. Mr. Reed was not exactly forthcoming. Perhaps this letter will give you the information you require.
I'm currently investigating sources of the epidemic in this part of town. Do you know anything useful?
Not really, except all the Macpherson's servants resigned a few days ago. They feared becoming infected, they said.
The Macphersons? Where do they live?
I think it's a rich house near the railway bridge in the southern part of the district.
Goodbye.
Of course, Mr. Miss Reed worries.
I'm not sure of his...
Hello again.
Jonathan.
Father seems to have left me some documents. Some sort of treasure hunt game. Do you know anything about them?
No, Johnny. But your father always loved to write these little games for you when you were a boy. Don't you remember?
I remember now. He used to post me these riddles, as though they were sent by a mysterious games master. I'd spend weeks trying to decipher them.
Your father was always so proud each time you found the answer. He was not just the serious doer banker everybody thought he was.
I was proud too. How could I forget that?
The important thing is that you remember it now. I'll tell your father the next time I see him. He'll be so happy.
Could Father have conceived some sort of final game for me before he left?
I really can't say, Johnny. Perhaps you should talk with Avery about that. He was your father's confidant, more than I.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, son. Your father and I have spoken about your fiancé, Mary. We believe he'll be an honorable husband for you. We'll set a date for the marriage then. That way, I'm sure one of my children will give me grandchildren. I understand your thirst for knowledge, Jonathan, and your father and I are proud of it. But you are not that young anymore, my son. When will I meet your soulmate? You can ascribe my romantic tendencies to my French origins if you want, Aubrey. But I'll never cease to believe in a match made in heaven, my beloved.
I really wish you could meet her, Mother. You would love her. It's locked, all right. Hello again, Mother.
Jonathan, back already? Good, good. I was just about to go outside to find you. You shouldn't stay away for so long.
Do you really see Mary and Father? Do you also see me as one of the dead?
Yes. For many years, it was just a game. Since your father left us without a word, I took to the habit of speaking to him.
Yes, I remember. I sometimes spied on you and listened to you talking with Father in the garden. It made me so angry then. But it was just a game, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But since then, my poor dead Mary visited me in my room. She led me to her grave, and there you were. I now know the dead can haunt us.
I'm so sorry. You did not deserve to endure this. Mary should never have done this to you.
That's true, my son. But you know what the worst part is? I liked it when Mary spoke in my head. Now she is silent, and it makes me so sad.
Should I leave you alone? Just ask, and I swear you'll never hear from me again.
Oh, no, Johnny. You're always welcome in this house. And one day, when I finally die, we'll all be together again, just as Mary promised us.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, son.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
I may have a look at your goods, Mr. Russell.
Support the equality between men and women!
Someone you know. Even someone you're close to.
Hello, Venus.
Hello, Jonathan. Please, come in. At least you survived the Great War. I fear... What do you... You know that you are always welcome here. But at this hour...
Your prey is mine now!
I cannot enter. It's locked, all right.
Ain't safe here for a gentleman. There's one of them vermin.
That building is under quarantine. Could this be what I'm looking for?
Albanian.
She tricked me! I love you!
Fucking pathetic pig! The equality between men and women.
This is no place for you, sir. Don't come any fucking closer.
Welcome.
Sure.
please, I don't have your... Fancy you.
Right. Good evening. Do you need...
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye. Good evening. How are the conditions in Whitechapel these days?
When I think about all the people who died trying to reach England, it seems we escaped a war just to die on foreign shores, hated by all.
Goodbye.
Good evening, Doc.
Do you need...
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught you in my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
How are conditions in Whitechapel at the moment?
I always thought it was my role to reveal what really happens in these forgotten parts of London.
And you're not sure anymore?
Emptied coffins, cannibalism, walking dead. I'm trying to report the truth about what's going on, but no one believes it anymore.
Goodbye. Hello again, miss. Very well. Goodbye, then. Hello again. Hello, Camellia. How are you, partner? Come on, girl. Smile. Don't you know Dorothy and I have an agreement? We're on the same side. No? All right then, as you wish. Very well. Goodbye then.
Whitechapel is not just disease, desertion,
Good
and
evening,
despair.
Mr. Nethercott.
And good evening to you.
Do you need...
It may be wise to let you prescribe.
I understand your appetite for word.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
I imagine we are all part of some nightmare without beginning nor ending. If only the dreamer could awake.
I'll leave...
Best get in with it! We found
You Londoners are no match for me!
It's locked.
just look the other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out, right?
Maybe it's time to see if this Christina is...
Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Hello. Yes?
How is Nurse Crane these days?
I don't know what you told her, what kind of deal you made, but Dorothea seems less anxious recently. Thank you for that, Dr. Reed.
Do you have any... Tell me
I do not believe...
Tell me everything you know.
I do...
How is the sanitary situation in Whitechapel?
We hold on, despite the epidemic. Armed patrols have been seen in the vicinity for a few nights, but they stayed away from the dispensary.
Do you need some...
I am very tired, but that is all. I don't need you, Doctor.
Well, I think you do. Take this, and you'll feel better.
Free drugs from an English...
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening.
Wangs.
How is the sun?
My only relief is that my Matthew died before seeing the madness that approaches. I'm afraid we won't survive this trial, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye for now.
Step back! Over there! There's one of them vermin! Die, vermin! Get them weapons ready! Fan one! Die, vermin!
Hello, Jonathan. How are things on the West-End front?
Complicated, my friend. The rich and powerful feel threatened by the disease, and have asked me to put an end to it.
Yes. It is odd how resolving a crisis suddenly increases in urgency when it affects those who matter.
It looks like the epidemic is spreading to the western districts of London. I am trying to locate the source of the infection.
It won't be an easy task, my friend. This disease is highly contagious.
Do you not think epidemiology could be helpful in this matter? To retrace the origin of infection through time and topology.
If anyone can perform such a miracle, it will be you, Dr. Reed.
Since this epidemic is evidently linked to the vampire curse, we must find the original carrier to understand where it comes from.
I admire your logic, Jonathan, but be careful. Rationality, when it comes to your kind, is not always a reliable lens.
Does the Brotherhood of St. Paul know anything about the Ascalon Club?
Well, I'm afraid that's unlikely. Ascalon is a sensitive topic, and whatever material the Brotherhood has, I may not have access to.
Who could answer me then?
Usher Talltree, our current primate. Maybe the only one able to answer. He's a discreet man who lives in the West End.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson, the famous tycoon, is well versed in vampire and occult knowledge?
No, I did not. But that is no surprise. For half a century, it has been quite the trend for English nobility to join secret societies and occult circles.
But Aloysius Dawson is only a rich merchant.
Yes, richer than Croesus. Wealth is more respected than title these days, even in England.
Did he contact the Brotherhood of St. Paul? Try to join your group?
It would not surprise me, but I am certain he's never been a member.
Thank you for your time, Edgar. Good evening. Soldier?
Not really. I think...
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it. Damage is done.
Goodbye.
You disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
I'm quite...
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous.
Then you...
I wish this hospital could have received it.
Thank... And good... Good...
My sweet girl.
Good evening. Good evening. Is there anything...
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since...
Unfortunately... Goodbye.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require...
Do you know you're the only one who's asked?
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Good.
Do you require...
I will be fine.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Do you need any...
I'm afraid I do.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. Well, thanks, anyway. Wise choice.
Good. Do you need the Don't, and that is a good thing. Of course.
Best be on your way home. All of you bloody killing.